Well, I did hit record, so technically it's all going into the box now. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Is that a current reference that people will get?
That's interesting that you say that.
Why?
Because I was debating one of the solutions that I was thinking of doing today was really referential to that. Maybe okay, it's a sign. We have to do that solution.
Oh, man.
You literally just called it, dude.
Okay. I mean, I'm always willing to drop a 7 reference.
That's probably what
anytime.
that's probably what it
Be
is.
like,
because I was
"What's in the
thinking
box?
about 7 and
What's
then
in the box?
Okay, yeah. But I don't want to do that solution. Let's do a different one.
Okay.
I'll do that later. I got a 7 solution.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
It's a serial murderer thing. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Hey,
Welcome, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
good to be here.
We have a guest today.
Yeah, we've upped our game once again.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Solutions from the Multiverse. I'm Scott Maupin,
I'm Adam Braus.
and today we have a special guest with us, Bedford Williamson. Welcome.
Greetings.
So Bedford is a mutual acquaintance of both Adam and myself. We've known
Friend. Well,
Okay,
I can be a friend.
he's a mutual friend of both of ours, and I met.
we
both,
met him on the street.
I met.
We
both,
met him in an elevator.
Yeah, he's an acquaintance.
I think I actually don't know how you two met because I met you both at the same time when I came on as a student to General Assembly for my coding boot camp,
Right.
and you were both in the instructor level
What-
teaching me how to not
what
be
was-
so terrible at computers.
Oh, I was thinking that we might have been in the same cohort.
No, you were an instructor on my cohort for
Yeah,
sure.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
But
You were a previous cohort though to his,
Mhm.
and then you came on as like a TA.
Yeah,
thing.
I was a TA.
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, that was
and
cool.
it helped me greatly because I
Yeah,
needed
the
all the
TAs
A.
were so clutch.
I needed all the A that T's could give me.
That could
Wait,
be
that sounded
interpreted in
bad.
a couple
Yeah,
different ways.
Whoa, I didn't give out any A's.
Yeah.
Teacher assistant. That's
No,
what I'm
some
talking about.
T.
All the
I could
assistants
take
that a
it.
teacher could give me. Oh boy. Okay. I've already gotten canceled. I'm sorry.
And the sometimes the guest is like the solution and the guest like go together. This is not that case. We're just all chatting. We're all just sort of hanging out.
Yes.
It's more of a kind of chill hang.
It's an excuse to get back together with old friends.
Yeah, exactly. So welcome, Bedford.
Thanks for
And
having me.
you've been listening to the podcast a little bit.
Yeah, the topics are cool. Was one of the topics universal income?
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, I
Maybe.
don't think so. Did we do a universal basic income? Because that's not a new idea.
I know. Maybe I just
But it
read
was-
your blog post.
I did have a blog post about it. Although I used to be very in favor of that, and now
Yeah.
I'm very against it.
You are?
Yeah. Now I believe in. Well, we'll talk about this. Now you're prefiguring to this is the solution today. We're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ooh,
Were you
maybe
a-
I should just go into the solution.
Were you a
You've
member
kind
of the
find-
Yang Gang?
I was there is a photo of me shaking hands with Andrew Yang. I was a
Oh.
big Yang ganger. I still think Yang is cool. He's made some major blunders recently. Like, anyways, I don't want to.
He's the name that comes to mind when
He's
I
great.
think
Though.
universal.
He's
basic
great. He's a
income.
pragmatist. We need
Mhm.
more pragmatists in politics who are actually solving problems and like looking at root cause solutions. But starting a third party was silly. He should have just started an advocacy group with a super PAC. That's what he should have started, but not a whole third party. Like, what? Why would you make a whole? Our system isn't built for third parties. You know,
It's built to
it's
crush
stupid.
them.
Yeah, instead just build a super PAC and an advocacy group, like anything, and great. Now and then you can have huge influence because you can channel money into things and whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so he made a little bit of a mistake, I think, semantically even. Okay, let's go straight into the solution then, because you just totally teed it up. Okay, basketball.
What?
Do you guys know anything about basketball?
Yeah, I'm from Kansas. I know a lot about basketball.
I could play it.
Okay, are you guys into March Madness at all? Got your brackets? Did you do your brackets?
I don't do brackets anymore.
Okay, but you used to.
I
I
did.
used to do brackets.
So you guys know the premise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I promise this comes back to basic, like to income stuff. But,
Okay.
Okay. Basketball. NAACP, right? That's the college
That's
basketball.
not the college
Oh,
basketball.
what is it?
NCAA.
NCAA.
NAACP is very different.
Different thing. Okay. NCAA. Sorry. They have almost the same name.
Yeah.
NCAA.
Okay.
Okay.
One's national and one's Negro. Very different.
Right. So now I'm going to say it wrong every time.
NCAA.
NCAA. You guys know about this, right? The college students play basketball. the NCAA league makes, I don't know how many billions of dollars,
Mhm.
right? And the money goes to all kinds of things. But for example, the coaches make like $100 million or something a year. They make like an insane amount of money, and the money goes all around to all these things. Goes to the colleges and the universities, sure, but it also goes to like the jersey sellers and stuff, and like it goes to all these places, and the students get nothing except for a scholarship to go to school.
Yeah.
Which these usually state schools, probably they're only getting about maybe $10,000 a year worth of scholarship.
And they're actually banned from receiving any kind of like they'll get in big trouble if they get compensation before a certain time or whatever.
Yeah.
They're banned from it. And
It's
I think
wild.
they just made a change where they can now get paid to do advertising stuff
They can get a little money now. I think something is updated.
from advertisers, I think. Like the way that you can like go and say Adidas and then
Mhm.
get money from Adidas, but they can't get any money for actually playing the games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the solution. Everyone in America, and really in every advanced country, should receive a universal basic inheritance when they turn 30 years old. So not a basic income. And we can talk more about why I'm very against the basic income, but a basic inheritance is different. It'd probably be in the range of like 200 grand when you're 30.
Okay.
So like when you're 30, you just receive 200 grand from the government.
That's a game changer.
No strings attached.
I'm not against this already.
Yeah. Okay, but to test this, to see the economic effects of this, we could put it in place in the NCAA as an experiment. So we could say all NCAA players, when they turn 30, receive whatever it is, $200,000 per year they played. So if they played 3 years, they get $600,000. If they played 1 year, they get $200,000. Whatever. Anyways, I don't know what the exact number would be, but it'd be some amount that would be like a salary that they would have been paid. And then that could be like paid to them when they're 30 in a lump sum. Now we accomplish two things. One, we pay these students for what they accomplish in terms of making a huge amount of money for these kind of more exploitative, larger institutions.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to test the idea of a basic inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
If it works really well, we can extend it to everyone.
Okay, so I got questions. I mean, I always have questions. Inheritance feels like it is something that comes from like your older relatives down to you. Where does this come from?
It does. Your older relatives are George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin. And then it gets handed down to you because you're an American citizen.
And would this only be for like college ball players, or is this for any?
I think as a test, as an experiment, we do we force the NCAA
college athletics
to do this.
Okay.
We say, no, you have to compensate these students, and here's a good plan. Because if you compensate them when they're 20 years old playing basketball, it screws up the culture, and it's weird in the college. It's just a weird thing. But if you take that money, you put
nothing's ever gone wrong by giving a 20-year-old $200,000.
Exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Or millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like for the star players would probably try to argue that they deserve, millions of dollars. So yeah, that's the idea.
Okay.
I mean, why not start with women's volleyball?
Well, there's not as much money there. So you got to start with where there's huge funds.
Oh, so you're saying
they're
you're taking the funds from the college to pay for it?
Yeah, they're paying the coaches like $80 million a year. They can pay the students like $200,000 7 years from now, 9 years from now. All they have to do is put the money in a bank account and then let it in escrow sit until.
Then that's the real question: is where's this escrow? What kind of funds are we using to grow this money?
Whatever, doesn't matter. You just sit there.
Feels like it might matter.
Well, they can manage it. Whoever, some finance guy can manage.
That's where the mismanagement of the funds come in.
So, are we taking this out of like just slide a little bit out of the coach's salary, slide a little bit out of the athletic director, and basically cut a little bit to make for this
cut a wing off
this chunk of money to give
the new stadium.
Okay.
So
sure, salaries for the worker. I know this is not a crazy idea. Salaries for workers. I mean, they're working. They should be paid a salary.
Making lots of money for the college.
Yes.
Huge amounts of money, and and all the advertisers. Right? There's advertisements for all kinds of things.
I bet in
all
5
around.
years they'll get money.
But I don't think they should get money at the moment. I think this is a better solution.
You
it's
like
a better
them working
solution
for free?
Well, not for free, just for delayed. They should get it when they're 30. I think that's cool.
It's like a trust fund.
What
they
about?
get the trust fund? Which who would turn that down, right? Wouldn't you like a trust fund?
I would love a trust fund.
Yeah,
I guess.
me too.
I'm not going to turn one down. I haven't been offered one. So
Because
any listeners out there, if you want to,
sign up for Scott's Trust Fund. It's a GoFundMe. It's called GoTrustFundMe.com.
you find me on Twitter. I'm not verified. It's easy.
I started a custodial account for a couple of my nieces and nephews.
What does that mean?
It means that I start a brokerage account for them.
And that cleans their houses?
I put money in it for them,
Hires
but they'll get it
system.
when they're 25.
Oh,
That's smart.
That's it. This is the similar thing. Yeah.
But this comes from my own money.
Yeah, this is.
But I wouldn't do 25. I'd do 30 because 25. I was still making stupid decisions. when I was
Well, the thing
25.
is, you can only do it as what the state allows for. For some places, you can only do it till they're like 18 or 20. It varies per state for how long you can hold the conservativeship.
Oh.
So basically, I work for them and managing their funds, and none of the money's considered mine, even though I have access to it. If I take it out, they can basically sue me for taking their money.
Right.
They can sue me at like their 6-year-old age.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's like a child actor maybe has this set up.
You took
too,
my
or something.
money.
But
Uncle
technically, the thing is, I'm trying to plan it out that when they turn 25, I'll say, hey, roll this into your 401k. And when you retire, you'll have a couple $1 million if you just put in $500 a year.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
Ooh.
Nice.
So here's my question: do they know about it yet, or is it a secret that you're going to drop on them at a later
they
time?
should
I'll
listen
tell
to this
them when they're
episode.
more in high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know? Right now.
Yeah. It might
don't
screw
know.
up their incentives.
You don't want them walking around third grade
wouldn't it
being
just
like,
be
"I got a trust fund. Get out of my way."
They-
You might not
they'll be
want to
able-
tell them at all.
They'll be able to
They
put
could
money
just,
in
bam,
for.
get-
No, I want them to be able to have some education around it, and they can put their birthday
that's
money
smart.
in.
That's smart.
You know, and hey, they can tell
Yeah.
me some stocks they want to buy once we do some
cool.
different allocations once
Yeah.
they're in high school,
Yeah.
and then they can see their money grow
Yeah.
without being able to touch it.
Maybe this is the way we do the NAA or the NCAA.
So this is another reason why they maybe won't mess it up when they get the money when they're 30 is
If you have
they
them
have some
manage
kind
it.
of guidance in the management.
Right. Great. I love that. Yeah. Let's add that to it.
A custodial
It's a
custodial
custodial
account.
account for
Yeah.
them. Their salaries get paid at the time, but
Yeah.
that money goes into the custodial account.
Someone
so it's
manages
legally
it.
theirs.
They can give
manage
input.
it, and they get to have input.
They
Oh,
can
I love
monitor
that.
it,
Yeah.
and then they can see when they get it, they'll get it.
See, this is why I'm
Love
glad
that.
we have you here, Bedford, because you're much more expertise in financial stuff. I am a financial nobody. I don't understand a lot of this stuff, but you guys can talk about this and understand actually what you're talking about. That's great. I don't. I'm trying to follow
We just
along, but
said
it's
words, but he doesn't know.
good. No,
what
no,
those words meant.
I'm kidding. I'm sort of. I feel like I get to learn from this too.
Yeah. I'm joking.
At first, Adam, I was thinking like, oh man, 30. What about those guys who go into the NBA and they're making like NBA money? Like,
Right.
will they care when they're 30? But I thought
'cause
about
they
it.
go from the end of they go from college basketball into the NBA, so they
Mhm.
wouldn't really care.
So
if
they're
they
like
got 200 grand,
right,
300 grand
exactly.
when
I'm
they're
making
30. Yeah.
I'm making
Yeah.
LeBron James money,
But that's
or whatever.
the fewest number of
Right.
people.
And
Yeah.
I thought about 30. You're like, a lot of people go in, have their career, they're in the NBA for a few years or whatever. They get that money,
Right.
then they're out, and they have to figure out the rest of their life. They blow through the NBA money before 30, and 30 could
Whoa.
be a good time to be like,
Hey, you got an
boom,
extra 400.
here's another chance. All right,
Yeah.
now that you're older and you understand, it's not all
Wow.
millions of dollars every year all the time. Here you go.
Right.
That could work a lot well too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those players could also structure their payments into a living trust fund for themselves to pay
If they
them out.
wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Kinda like
they
when
didn't blow it.
Kind of like you win the lottery, right? You
Yeah.
can pick like 50,000 a month or like the whole thing up front or whatever.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
They could work the structure out themselves.
So what if
Need
so the reason why I bring this up is some people listening might know the idea of a universal basic inheritance because the super duper famous French economist Thomas Piketty actually suggested this as a fix to fix capitalism. So he wrote this book. You guys heard of Thomas Piketty at all? He's not. I say super famous. I mean super famous among total economics nerds like me. But anyways, he's this French guy, and he wrote this book called Capital, which was sort of hearkening back to Das Kapital, like Marx, but it was called Capital, and it was it's like really fat book. I didn't read the whole thing. I read probably the first 100 pages. But basically, he just proved something that was everyone already knew, but he proved it empirically. He pulled all this tax data from European taxes because they have all this great tax data, and he actually proved that if you have a lot of money, you can make more money by investing it than by working. Which is like so obvious. Like, of course, that's the case. But basically what it means is like, this is why capitalism will always lead to inequality. It's because people with a lot of money will always make a greater share of the next round of like distribution of money will always go to the people with the most money, not to the laborers. And so he's basically proving Marx's theory of exploitation.
Well, wait, hold on. If that were true, then, I mean, there would be some sort of massive wealth inequality that existed in the world. And it's a
theoretical.
Wait, hold on,
it's
there
a
is.
theoretical.
Okay, never mind. Hold on, there is. You're right. Okay, go back. You're good.
Yeah. I feel like you just had to hit yourself in the head with one of those big cartoon hammers.
So people don't talk about wealth inequality, right? No?
Yeah, no, that's all great. Yeah. But yeah, so basically he just proved that. I think it's called like G is greater than R. That's the little like identity that he proved, where it's like capital is greater than labor. I don't know why it's G and R, but anyways, that's like the variables.
Probably French.
Yeah. Je et le regardant.
Oh, no. Goodbye, French listeners. It was nice having you. Sorry, we insulted your entire language. Goodbye.
But anyway, so he was then asked. So people asked him, people said, okay, this is great. You did all this work. You wrote this huge fat book, and it sort of proves this thing that kind of people already knew, like the rich get richer, the poor get children, right? Like, there's inequality built into capitalism. But he proved it, right? He proved it against all naysayers who were saying, oh, no, capitalism's rising all ships, and it's this great thing. He really proved it. So then people were like, okay, thanks, Tom. Like, what the hell's the solution? Again, just like our podcast, there's so much emphasis on problems, not enough on solutions. And so he went back and he took a few years and he wrote another like 1,000-page thing saying like, here's how he fixed capitalism. And I didn't actually read that, but I did read about it. And basically what he came up with a lot of different things, but one of the main things that he focused on was there should be a universal basic inheritance, not a universal basic income. So that's why I got the idea.
And that would help fix it by giving everyone the same size chunk of money at a designated point in life or whatever.
Right.
And kind of a second chance thing, or
first chance for most people, right? But it's basically like if I give you $1,000 every month, which is kind of like what like a basic income would be, or $2,000 a month, you spend all of it. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't very good at saving. You spend all of it, most of it, maybe even get credit card debt, and you're paying that off with the next month, right? But if I give you $200,000 when you're 30 years old, you probably go out and buy a house, or you buy, right? You probably
have an extremely exciting game of blackjack.
You might do that, but that's very rare. Probably very few people are. You might do it with 50 grand, but you're still going to have 150 grand, right? So you probably go buy a house, or you probably go start a business, or you go buy some kind of, you get some kind of retirement thing started. Either way, you're owning something. You're going to, at the end of the day, you're going to own assets. You're going to own a business. You're going to own property. You're going to own stocks and bonds and stuff. Assets, which means you're going to participate as in that capital side of that equation. You're going to become one of the owners. So instead of having a basic income, you have a basic inheritance, and it gets everyone, or the majority of people would become owners then, and you get intergenerational wealth starts.
So would this mean higher taxes in order to support this, or are we cutting from something? I'm trying to figure out where the money comes from, because it's not like,
how do you pay for it?
You say delayed.
You're bringing the Republican talking point right off the bat.
You're like, delayed,
right off the bat.
We don't have to
how
think
do you
about
pay
this
for it
for 12 years. But you've got if it's a system, then it would be every year anyway.
There's an easy way to do it. I mean, it's costly, but the question is it less costly than the basically the end of democracy, which is that's what we're heading towards, because democracy, most political theorists believe that democracy can only survive given a kind of relative equality among people, and as soon as there's massive inequalities, you can't, those people who are in the very top echelons of society are just like, well, I'll just take over the political system, because like, why wouldn't I? And if the laws say I can't, I'll just pay someone to change the laws. And if judges strike down those laws, I'll just pay people to just pack the courts with people. Right? It's what we are seeing right now, is democracy just being destroyed, largely because of the influence of money on politics. So if you can make more people owners, you actually reverse that, and you or at least you dampen that.
Maybe. I mean, I think there's a thing that comes in with having that much money. There's a certain responsibility, and it comes with some education. And you can give someone a winning lottery ticket, but if they don't know that it's the ticket, they'll throw it in the garbage and waste it. So you got to have some kind of education that comes along with the responsibility. You can't be responsible without the education. You won't know what to do with the money. So, someone could tell you, "Hey, you got that 200 grand? Give it right back to me." to the
Herbalife. Start your Herbalife career,
and then someone else
start
will
your multi-level marketing career.
Maybe this 1% you're talking about, like, "Hey, I'll manage it for you," and then they blow it on some bad bets. And
give it to the Scientologists, right, or something.
There needs to be some education involved, right?
Well, if it's a universal program, I mean, there'll be a high school class how to deal with
maybe workers that are so I think it was Obamacare. And you sign up, and you'd have like some agent that would help you do the paperwork and make sure you filled out the form correctly and tell you what covers, what you can get and what covers. So there'll have to be this education piece that comes with it, and maybe that's a whole government agency that works with people on how to educate them on the money,
make them into owners.
Yeah, Bedford's right, because I mean, if you just the same people that didn't have the knowledge of what to put the money in first to get them to that spot, you just give them a bunch of money, but without that information, that's half the thing. Like you said,
totally. So that disbursement shouldn't just be a check in the mail.
No.
It should probably be like, go into your local bank, and any bank can work you through this, and then the bank maybe gets $500 for working with you on it, or something.
There should be a part of this. If we have an equation for when it's going to work and benefit the world, there's probably some element of the equation what sectors or how it dispersed also has the outcome.
Right.
So maybe that's part of the education. Like, hey, you have this money. Here are a couple sectors you can make it last longer. Yeah. Like you're saying about house.
Yeah.
This.
Right.
Maybe have a formula like, hey, you got your 50, 20, 20, 10 type of percentage where, hey, go have fun, go to Vegas, but
only spend 5%.
Yeah, because 10%. This is the outcome after based on the knowledge,
Instead of just having like court-appointed attorneys, you also get like a court-appointed financial advisor if you want one. Like you have the ability to.
Yeah, and they're a fiduciary, and they have a fiduciary responsibility.
To be like, let me tell you. In your best interest. Because think about the money going to people who, even with the education, they still don't get it.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, man, like, I don't get it. Like, hey, I like to cook food. I don't want to do no math. Tell me what to put my money in. How many people do that already just with our current financial institutions? The robo investors, my financial planner. Just tell me what, some options I have. My tax strategist. But we need to incorporate that in, because think of any person right now who has 200 grand cash. They got a financial planner. They got a tax strategist. They're thinking already how to keep it.
Yeah.
So you can't just give it to them without that.
Yeah. And that would also naturally spring up endogenously, like around it, as long as the laws said that so currently, right, Obama made it so that financial advisors did have a fiduciary responsibility, and then Trump repealed that. So currently financial advisors don't have a fiduciary responsibility to their clients, which is insane, right?
I know. My financial advisor always tries to get me to get one of their products.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, why don't you tell me about other products?
That's because they don't have a fiduciary responsibility to you. But if they did, all you'd have to do is put that Obama rule back in place, and then there would naturally be a business of financial advisors that would spring up around all these people who are inheriting their 200,000, dividend, their national dividend.
Almost like this. Say you're a first-time home buyer program in America, you have to take a couple courses, put in a certain amount of hours to get that payoff as part of the contract. No money down. All right, you can do that, but you got to go to this program.
Yeah. Or even just like a little test, like a driver's license test.
Yeah, because we do that for driving.
Yeah.
It's not so wild.
A test maybe gets into different ethics.
Okay,
because
good point. Yeah.
Because someone like, it's hard for me. Because then it goes, how is this test written? Is it written for me to fail?
Yeah.
Is it written for me to pass? Or
there's a bias in the test.
Yeah, so someone who has that responsibility in your best interest is better because they're trained. They're
they can work with you.
They can work with you one-on-one for the guidance.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, the person should have the control, but going through the program means we put it all there before you.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different absorption level, so it's hard to. It's hard to. I would say it's hard to just pass the test to get the money. Like, hey, pass this test. It's like the SATs. You get your money. Hard. The test could get super hard. It's like financial modeling. I'm crying.
Right. Even compound interest is a pretty. I mean, it's a little bit of a tricky equation.
It's a humdinger.
It's a humdinger. It's a humdinger. I got so many humdingers. But one thing that would be interesting is I'm trying to tie. I think it's a neat idea. I didn't want to do it by itself. It seemed kind of dry. But tying it to because we just got out of March Madness, tying it to the college basketball and basically saying, okay, we're going to pay we're going to pay the college athletes because they're making billions of dollars of value for all these institutions and like powerful people, and we get a natural experiment in. Because we can take some of those players come from affluent families. Some of those players don't come from affluent families. Some of those players do better and worse in school, right? And are more and less educated,
right?
I mean, they all get college degrees, but we all know student athletes.
It's a merit-based system on the merit of athletic ability. Yeah.
Like, hey, you were just a water boy. You shouldn't get $200,000. You can't carry my jock strap.
Right.
Like what the heck? Nerd. Yeah. Where does it count for being on the team? Yeah. You get hurt on your first day. I'm a redshirt freshman. There's got to be some rules, some bylaws.
Yeah, somebody's got to get in there, and they'll have to negotiate it all out. But then now we'd have this natural experiment where we could say, hey, we gave how many players are there in the college basketball? At least a few thousand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so now we get a few thousand people who are getting this thing. They deserve it because they worked, right? Yeah. Americans love that. And then if you show, look, none of them ever are in poverty, or their poverty rates are like 50 times less than the cohorts before now.
Right.
You could then say, oh my God, we should roll this out to everybody in America.
This is a two birds, one stone, meaning that we're helping fix a problem of the exploitation of the athletes, but you're also working on a theory for
the greatest economist, the greatest living economist's theory of fixing capitalism.
Right. And then I like this education part as a two-part fold.
Yeah.
You give them the education, since it's a college system, there could be a whole course in, you're going to receive this money. Yeah. It's going to be in these funds for this many years, and you can monitor it through these access of these points. Yeah. So they start off already getting some education that they're going to have to follow for the next, their 20, the next 10 years when they get that money, or 7 years when they get out of school. Yeah. So then they'll have that follow-up class, and it could possibly be at the university where, I mean, if it wasn't government, it could be at the government, but it could also be part at the university who might have the faculty or the place to do it.
Yeah, or just even an online course
for the trial, for the students.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I mean, this would have totally changed my college career. I was a painting major, but if this was in play, I probably would have been starting point guard for the Jayhawks instead, because that's a very attractive. Like,
that was the one thing
I just chose. I was like, they were like, please, Scott, please, and I was like, no, God, I want to paint my pictures. And they were like, but we need help on the back. Oh, okay, fine, we'll use Kirk Heinrich and Nick Collison instead. I'm like, okay, good job, guys.
Good job, Kirk.
Could there be a negative? Can you think maybe there might be a negative effect?
Yeah,
people know I'm going to get $200,000 in 10 years. Take out a lot of.
Take out
debt.
Loans.
Debt. Take out a lot of debt. Hey, don't worry, I'll get you back in 7 years. I'm about to.
And predatory banks saying, take out a ton of debt.
A loan.
Because as soon as that thing comes in, we're going to just put a lien right on it and take it from you.
Yeah, so it can work. Yeah. That's why the first part of education class can help protect you.
Don't take out a shit ton of debt when you're 22 to buy buy stuff, consumptive debt. I mean, if you're going to take out a little bit of debt to to buy your first home or something, and then you're like, well, I'll pay that debt off when I get my inheritance, then it's good, right? But if you're like, I'm going to take out a big debt to buy this Lambo, like big dumb idea.
They're like, as long as I'm not more than $200K in debt by the time I'm 30, then I'm okay.
And I might as well be 250 grand in debt because I can handle 50 grand. Or, you start to do this really negative thought process.
They'll try to balance it out. We're like, hey, I'll still be up 100 grand if I spend 100 grand right now. And then I could spend 50 grand a year in debt until I turn.
And I mean, you're pointing out the people. I'm going to say there's going to be way more likely than those people making that decision. There's going to be shitty businesses around them saying, "Oh, this is great. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. No worry. Like, this is going to work out great. I have a suit on. I look fancy. I know like what I'm talking about with the money." But they're not actually your fiduciary. Maybe this is why they all need to have these financial advisors that they can go check with and be like.
So that puts the onus back on the government in protecting the customer and
Although I do think I think we could do it without those protections and see, because again, it's an experiment. So see if there's a ton of that behavior, or more likely, I mean, a lot of the research into the basic incomes, which is again just like $1,000 or $2,000 a month, has shown that there actually isn't a lot of bad and stupid financial behavior. Like most basic income money is spent on like diapers and food and like rent. Like that's what most people. There is people buy cigarettes and whiskey and they enjoy themselves, but everyone enjoys themselves with money they have. So that makes sense. But the point is, people don't like blow their whole basic income thing on parties or something. That's so rare. So I think we initially always have this sort of paternalistic like, people will screw it up, we gotta like make barriers. But the research, at least of basic income, suggests that actually people are pretty good at handling their money on their own.
If that's the case, why are you against it?
Against what?
The basic.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I'm against it because people never become owners, which means they never overcome this G greater than R thing that Piketty discovered. They stay in this, and I think it actually would cement an underclass, like
because they never strive to get better.
Yeah, if you were truly like an evil oligarch and you really wanted to like take over America, I would say pass a basic income, because you would then suppress like most people would be like pushed down. I think by it. So I'm in favor of a federal job guarantee, Medicare for all, and then a basic inheritance. If you had all three of those things, I'm pretty sure, and accessible education, not free education, but accessible education to everyone. If you have those four things, you would not have poverty, you would not have dramatic wealth inequality, and people would be able to show impetus. They could start businesses, they could do things.
I did see to play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
I did see that when people are giving their basic needs, it stifles innovation.
Sure.
Because everyone's comfortable and they don't try to make the next best thing because there's no need for it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Those hungry dudes in the garage, like tinkering at all hours of the night.
I heard someone theorize that about Germany.
Oh.
In like
what time period, or just now?
After World War II, they started to get all this like kind of basic income, guaranteed healthcare work, and then their innovation slowed till they're not innovators as much anymore.
So I want to push back on that though, because this is a good example. The iPhone. Okay, so guess which country? You just said it, but guess which country gets the most profit and revenue from the iPhone? People would think it's America because like Apple's in America and it's an American company. But actually, in an iPhone, what you're really paying for is the componentry, the high-tech componentry. And the most expensive, the more important componentry is made in Germany. Really? And the next most important componentry is made in Japan.
Yeah.
So actually, when you buy an iPhone, the largest portion of profit from that goes to Germany, and the next largest goes to Japan, and then hold on. Does it go to America?
I was just going to say, if Italy is number 3, we
got
a little bit of a historical, historical red flags flying up in my head here.
People also think maybe when I ask that question, people think, China, because it's all manufactured in China. No, they get like way less because it's all it's not highly paid labor. So when you say they're not innovating, I would say they're not innovating in a visible way because they don't create the brands and we don't think, oh yeah, that great German company. I mean, we think BMW and stuff, but that started 100 years ago. What we don't see is the invisible innovation that actually is a hugely valuable. I mean, the German economy is like a runaway train. It's amazing. It's like the absolute bulwark of the European economy is just the Germans. And so I don't know. I mean, their innovation's different, I would say, but it's not as visible as ours, but it actually is really quite profound. Like, have you ever met a German and had them not say?
Oh, sorry, that was not the end of the question. Sorry.
Have you ever met a German and have them not say they have a PhD in engineering? Every German I've ever met's like, I have a PhD in engineering, and I don't know any American with a PhD in engineering, because who gets that? But the Germans do. It's a very common thing to have a PhD in mechanical or electrical engineering.
In America, you might just drop out of college.
Wait for your basic inheritance to kick in.
In engineering, just drop out.
Yeah, that's true.
Start engineering, right? Yeah.
But the Germans, because they do that PhD in engineering type innovation, it's invisible because it's in the belly of the machines, and it's not the branding. It's not the,
I'll tell you this, that topic came from a German person. I can't remember who, but it was a recent.
Yeah.
Lamenting that they weren't as innovative as usual.
But they're just saying that because, they don't have as much of an entrepreneurial culture as we do in the terms of brands and in terms of consumer goods and stuff. But if you look at the actual economics of it, they still are innovating enormously. It's just on things that are invisible: componentry, machinery, things that are on factory floors that are like, oh, it's that German machine we just bought for $20 million. Like, that's the innovation. But consumers don't know anything about that because there's. So I would say I would push back on that a little bit. I do think that people respond to incentives, though. So if you give them everything they need,
I think that's my moral
a little bit. Yeah,
that's my base point is.
But the basic inheritance won't do that, because the basic inheritance doesn't give you something every month. You still have to hustle. But then when you're 30, boom, you have this big chunk that you can then launch your dreams with.
But Bedford's right. Knowing that it's coming can kind of make you have some problems in the interim,
Without like a proper training, knowing that it's coming, it's what we have proliferating all those check cashing places. You know what? Now I just start noticing my bank is giving me my deposits like a day or two before my payday. It's already getting cash in my account now.
Oh,
are you sure you're not just thieving people?
No, no. It's like even before my actual payday, I have the money in my account nowadays. Wow. And I won't say my bank.
So wait a second. Though. I have a natural experience. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, on Bedford's point, humans are classically not good at avoiding oncoming trains. Like with the climate disaster, where you're like, hey, this is a problem going to come. We can start taking effect now. We're like, let's just party until it's like until it's time to die.
1999.
I would say that
completely different.
I would say that there's just a few very evil elites who are running the petroleum industry who have actively militated against what actually the vast majority of people want, which is to have a clean environment.
Please don't break the planet, please.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, no, that's going to hurt our profits this quarter, so we're going to just keep doing that. But here's a natural experiment, which we have to not forget.
Yeah.
Anyone who is even moderately from even a moderately affluent family will inherit $200,000. Right?
Okay.
Which means this is already in existence.
I don't know.
Right? So does that hurt those people's motivation? Do we see less entrepreneurship? Do we see less innovation from people who are moderate? I mean, this is not, to inherit $200,000, you don't have to be that wealthy. I mean, you have to be maybe in the top 30% of America, maybe top 15% of America. That's tens of millions of people. Are those people like not innovative and not developing themselves? I think quite the contrary. Often we see people from affluent backgrounds succeeding the most, starting businesses. What are they called? Nepo babies. Well, and
right? feeling free to take chances because it's not my entire life savings. If this fails, it's fine.
Right. A lot of those people also have the education component from the family structure.
Right. Well, I said
private schools.
I said accessible education.
Like, you better know how to do this.
Mine's like a four legs of a table thing. Yeah. But one of them is a basic inheritance, Medicare for all, accessible education, affordable, accessible education, and then free Lambos for everybody. No, what was the fourth one?
Oh.
I can't remember.
I was excited. All right.
Anyway, the fourth, I can't remember what the fourth one was, but yeah, it would basically solve we wouldn't struggle with poverty and inequality the same way if we had all four of those things.
So, Adam, I want to prepare you for your first lawsuit that'll drop on you after this plan.
Oh God!
And it's coming from the NBA.
Why
They're
is the
saying,
NBA mad?
well, because right now
What did I
some
do to
people
them?
come straight out of high school and go into the NBA and become basketball players. And then this is kind of a reverse brain drain on the NBA because you might be pulling some of those guys, holding them in
'cause they
college
want
for
the college.
2, 3, 4 years because they're adding
can
up.
make
I'm stacking
money.
up $200,000 every year I'm here in college.
But they make way more than the NBA, and they get the money right away.
Do, but
in
they
the
can.
NBA.
Well, that's true. I
They
guess.
get the money right
I guess
away.
if you have the chance to go in the NBA, I guess when I had the chance to go in the NBA.
Yeah, what did you decide when you were faced with that chance?
I just decided. No, that's. But I was thinking the NBA. It's more of an issue than like the NFL because college football players can't go straight into, or high school football players can't go straight into the NFL. They have a requirement to play X amount of years in like at like school, and the NBA does not have that requirement. People can go straight from high school. So I don't know. Maybe it would pull more
Lawsuit.
people into.
You can't go to the
college.
NBA straight from high school.
You can't.
No.
Oh,
What?
We want that to happen, but you can't anymore.
Oh,
they
not
changed
anymore.
it.
No.
Oh.
You used to.
Okay, LeBron did. Yes,
That's why so many people go to
Okay.
college for 1 year or try to do the G League for a year or international and then come in.
Okay.
Oh, 'cause
Well, then
they're,
it's
like,
changed
working
since
around
I've
the
been
rule.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I was being recruited in high school, it's changed. I guess.
Here's one way to think about it in terms of just the basic inheritance idea. And I think some people who are fighting for a basic income might say the same thing. Again, I don't think the basic income's a good idea because it doesn't make people owners. But in Star Trek, you guys listen to Star Trek. You like Star Trek a little bit. They're in you can verify this. They're in a post-scarcity society, right? That's the whole premise of Star Trek.
I think it's in a society where
it's
they
because
figured out
They
basic
invented
needs.
They invented the replicator. That was the big breakthrough, right? As soon as
So
they
you're
invented-
beyond me on
Okay,
this. I don't
the
actually
reality.
know.
So this is what happened in Star Trek. In the Star Trek universe, at some point, they were our society, but then somebody invented the replicator, which is like a molecular 3D printer. So you just make anything, and you just snap your fingers and make anything. Food, clothes, whatever, anything anybody wants, a whole building. You just, the replicator does anything. As soon as they created the replicator, post-scarcity, right? So now there's like, you can just hit print and you just get anything you want. So there's no reason to have like an economy. There's no reason to work. There's no scarcity, okay? So then they were like, oh, let's just explore the stars. Okay. So someone pointed out quite cleverly that there was probably a few years, maybe even decades, between when somebody figured out how to make the replicator and then the whole society switched over to actual post-scarcity institutions. So there was this weird twilight period where there was replicators and people could just produce a ton of stuff for free and like very affordably. And then the whole government had to all change to become then recognized, oh, we're in a post-scarcity society. So I would argue that we are currently in that twilight period already.
Post scarcity?
The replicator has been invented.
It has?
Yep. But not the actual replicator, but global capital, global capital.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Global capitalism, global markets with container ships and cloud computing and robotics and global division of labor itself is so productive that even the waste of that system would provide everything for everyone on the planet. Even just the waste, not even the intended development, but just even just the waste is so great.
It does seem like the modern version of a replicator. Almost is I can open my phone, I can pull up a picture of a thing, I can go boop, and then it shows up in my house later that day or the next day or whatever.
Right.
That's a little wild.
Right. Yeah.
It's the replicators here without the payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're if the replicator has been created and we already are in a post-scarcity society, we just haven't, but the wealthy continue to hoard the wealth because they think we're in a scarcity society where it's important to hoard wealth. That's the society we live in. But in another 50 years, we'll finally realize, no, we've been beyond scarcity for decades. And these rich people are insane that they're just totally greedy to think. Anyway, so that's the framework that I'm thinking in is like, we're actually post-scarcity already, and we need our institutions to catch up with that. And a basic inheritance, I think, is probably the best. Right now, I think, maybe my ideas will change, but it's the way to kind of include people in this post-scarcity world and onboard them into the post-scarcity world the most effectively.
Hold on. Can I sidetrack you for a second? I've been thinking about something since we started talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
So I never see anyone who's bad at their job
in Star Trek
or get fired, right? If you're working on a spaceship, right, you're there and you do your job or whatever, and then you get fired, do you just live on the spaceship rent free and eat all you want and not have a job, and that's fine? That seems like a better version. Like I would just spend all my time in the holodeck,
just hanging,
not the replicator. I'd be like, yeah, it's cool. Fire me. That's cool. All the food's free and I live here. And you can't drop me off somewhere.
That's a good point. Like, why do you even have to work on the starship?
Right.
I know.
I've never seen anyone bad at their job on Star Trek, or people who just don't care.
What's their motivation?
They never show like an ensign who's just like, man, screw this.
Why do you even need a navigator? Why can't there just only be one person on the ship or no one on the ship?
Robo Star Trek.
And they know some of the people with jobs go down to explore things and don't come back. Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, no.
Yeah.
I'll just stay here, hang out, go to the holodeck, like 1920s, whatever.
Something tells me that if you were applying to be on that spaceship and you were on Earth, but you were applying to be on it, they would ask you these questions and you'd be like, no, that's stupid. Why would I do any of that? And they'd be like, meh, rejected.
Hey, did they, speaking of Star Trek, did they ever play any music on Star Trek? Like, what were they listening to on the ship? Like when they take a break or go to the mess hall? Was there music?
That's true.
Never heard about that.
That one woman had like the thing in her ear all the time, but that was like to talk to aliens and stuff. That wasn't music.
Star Wars has the do 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 do.
Like we don't ever have that. They brought the music in Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. Star Trek. That's a good point. Maybe they're just all musicless.
There's also music in Jabba the Hutt's
in the future. Is it a non-music future? In this scarcity? We need scarcity to make good music. The blues.
That's right. I heard there was a professor of Latino studies who pointed out that there's no Latino people in sci-fi movies or books.
What?
Almost exclusively. Yeah, he pointed that out. And now as I've watched sci-fi movies and books, he's right. I mean, in recent history, I think people have started to realize that because that critique has been made. But if you go back even 10 years, it's all just like Asian, black, and white people. There's no Latinos. And it's so funny because Latinos are actually a growing population. The future will have tons of Latino people in them. And so that was an interesting.
The most growing population in America.
Yeah, yeah. So actually the future.
And I don't want to disagree with
your friend. Which means the music will be reggaeton.
In the future, yes. It'll be.
I don't want to disagree with your friend, but one that sticks out in
please.
In my mind is the Captain Adama on the Battlestar Galactica.
That's
Edward
true.
James Olmos.
Adama.
He rules. But I just have a soft spot for that show and that guy. But overall, you're right.
Latino, yeah. And that's Battlestar Galactica. Primo sci-fi.
Very
top level.
I enjoy.
Yeah.
I have successfully sidetracked you far away.
No, I love the sidetrack. What sidetrack do you? Should we go off the sidetrack? The sidetrack.
The sidetrack.
Should we double sidetrack, or is it the sidetrack?
I don't know the technical term. I'll look it up.
It's binary search graph.
That's right.
So
Captain's log.
Adam, how does this idea first occur to you? Is it by you're watching?
Well, I was a huge Yang ganger, so I was a huge universal basic income supporter because it was a cool idea. I was like, we want to get rid of poverty. I was like, this seems like get rid of poverty. But then I started to learn about especially the importance to work for men. I don't want to make it totally gendered. It's important for women too. But the statistics really show that men really, really struggle when they don't have work that they're doing that's of any value to people around them. It's really bad for their psychology. And so I learned about that and I was like, ooh, yeah, I understand. As a man, as myself, I'm yeah, that would not be good if I was just sitting around collecting $2,000 a month for doing nothing. And then I thought, there's not a shortage of jobs to be done, right? We need teachers, we need kindergarten teachers, we need healthcare workers, we need all this work done. So really a federal job guarantee makes a lot more sense.
Teachers is a thankless job.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking to two teachers here, right? Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're pre-college,
absolutely.
It does a lot of good, but the world doesn't reward you,
Yeah. And kindergarten teachers, preschool. Sure, we have a huge childcare crisis in this country because it costs $2,000-$3,000 to get childcare. That's because there's a shortage of childcare workers too. So I mean, we don't need a basic income. What we need is the federal government to say, look, if you want a job, just walk over to your job office and they'll just give you a job. You can be trained immediately to be a child care worker, an elderly care worker, a healthcare worker, a social worker. Like you can be trained. We'll train you to do these jobs that the society absolutely needs. So there's no need to just pay people to do nothing. We can pay people to do the work that the society needs.
Well, but Bedford's right about like the difference between the attitudes of students who are paying for their education actively versus the ones who are like forced to go to school for 12 years and they're just like, I don't know. Some kids are into it. A lot of kids are like, no, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't think those like grade school and high schools really tap into the kids' potentials on what they can be. I remember doing one of those tests in high school. They said, like an aptitude test.
Yeah, what'd you get?
They said I can be a lounge singer.
Oh,
okay.
A lounge singer.
And have you pursued?
And they don't even check your voice.
Right.
They just said the way you answered these questions, you would like
a lounge singer.
hanging out in a lounge and singing for your profession.
And I'm just taking you haven't pursued that. That's
well,
not
I didn't.
I was just going to say now I'm curious. Do you sing? Are you a singer?
Yeah.
Were they right about this? Do you have a good voice?
Do you have a lounge?
I do like the lounge.
Okay, like the lounge. So you got half of it, right?
Maybe podcasting
These guys
is sort of like being a lounge singer. It was just years ahead, of the time.
You know what I got when I did that?
Yeah.
A mime.
Oh my goodness!
It said I should be a mime.
Oh my goodness!
How did you get mime? How does that happen?
I don't know. I'm creative. I was a bit of a class clown when I was a student.
Yeah.
Maybe I was kind of
continually getting trapped in boxes that no one else could see and trying to find my way
pulling
out.
ropes that
help him. He's stuck again.
Yeah, I liked having fun in school too,
Yeah.
But I answered those questions, I think, pretty honestly,
crazy?
And it also said go to the Army. It was like go to the Army or be a lounge singer. It was like my two options.
Yeah, a lot of crossow between those two. Yeah,
Pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
Like if you're dumb enough to be a lounge singer, you'll go to the Army. Yeah, I'm just joking. Army, that's I love it.
I remember those tests, and I remember them being.
People put a lot of stock in those things. I remember everyone remembers taking those.
I remember it being like It would be the question would be like, do you like driving a truck? Yes, no. And I'd be like, they're like, do you like doing this? And I'm like, well, I know what you're going to tell me. You're just telling me what I just told you.
Have those improved?
Well, I actually did. I did recently take the DISC, the DISC.
Okay.
What does that stand for?
Ooh, I can make something up. I love it.
No, it's real. I can look it up.
It's like Balderdash. I love that game.
It's sort of like your current aptitude test. And this one was kind of accurate,
Lounge singer.
I think I was like a SI or something.
Okay.
What's an SI? What's that? What's an SI?
Like a social and innovator type of thing.
Okay, so it gives you more of a category than
it gives
like
you
a
category than a job. And it tells you
you
like your ways that you are motivated and how to interact with people with different kind of styles.
Is this given to teenagers or no? This is like something lost 20-something professionals take.
Yeah, so it was a highly paid training.
It's expensive.
Oh, I was going to say what made you
but,
dip into that test, but it sounds like
it was a paid training to improve my performance overall.
Yeah,
in collaboration sense.
That's
and
cool.
it was great. It was spot on for like 50 people who took it.
Wow.
But it didn't tell you like, hey, you should do this. It just says, hey, this is what your team has, the categories. There's some people who were like, let's do it. There's some people like, hey, we're conservative. Let's wait.
Let's think.
And then there's some people who are like, hey, like me, I'm like part cheerleader for a new idea, but also still conscious that I'm not the super fast. I'm not the super slow.
In between.
But I'm also have an element of pumping up the new idea, like, hey, let's do it. You can do it, like a little bit of a motivation to get this thing started.
You're on the podcast because boy, do we need encouragement. There's a,
so I'm thinking, wait, are we all above 30 here? I think that's pretty.
I can't say my age on mine.
Yeah. Then I know I'm above 30.
I live forever.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. So if this was enacted, if you turn 30, boom, your 200 grand shows up from your universal basic inheritance.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I'm 30, I'm coming back from Japan for the first time, starting in America. Yeah. No idea what I'm going to do for a job or a career or anything. I've kind of spent my 20s traveling and seeing things and new cultures and things. So that would be humongous for me, because it was really a second starting point when I was 30, coming back to America and really trying to pick up it and be like, what do I do? And that would give me a cushion, because my start was getting temp jobs and starting with temp jobs, and then
you probably would have gone straight to a
things.
graduate school, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
You probably would have gotten a master's or something.
It's possible.
I mean, you're an educated guy, an educator, and that's probably what you would have done.
It's
or maybe
definitely
bought
possible.
a home.
I don't know. I'm probably
you
buying
not
property.
Start a business. I don't think you were starting businesses.
No, that wasn't probably my thing. But yeah, investing in some
or
way.
buying all the podcasting.
I don't.
You needed.
Now it's your thing.
What?
Now it's your thing.
Now it is. I guess. Yeah.
And also, you could just take it, put it in the bank, and not touch it.
Man,
and then I do have an idea.
If I had started podcasting when I was 30 and been the first, in the first
That's
wave
true.
of podcasting,
You would have been the absolute first. Yeah.
I'm gonna read the DISC personalities. Yes. There's a D for dominance, I for influence, C for consciousness, and S for steadiness.
Ooh.
So the steadiness, which I am, is thoughtful, supportive, and patient, with a little bit of enthusiasm, outgoing, and persuasive, which is the I.
Oh, okay.
I lean slightly to the C, which is the conscientious, the analytical in details, but not as much to
is D the one you don't want to have? Yeah.
I mean, you do. You want to have that, because if you don't have that on your team,
and stuff,
you'll never ship.
That's right. Somebody's
you'll keep checking it and like, we got to do this again. Let's make sure we test this one more time. And the deal was like, let's get this out the door, baby. It was ready yesterday. And you're like,
I feel like I'm like a double D a lot of times.
Hey, double D. Yeah.
I got a little too much of that, maybe. I think I've been. One of my mentors, who was like a PhD in organizational psychology, stuff like this, she always said, as you develop your personality, you become more balanced on any of these scales. So Myers-Briggs, as you develop your personality, you become more balanced between all four or all 8 or whatever. And I imagine the same would go for something like this. Like,
it's not true.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I mean, I've seen the results of some other people. People could be very one way,
right?
Like,
but they're not. The goal isn't to be a bit more sort of balanced, or the
there's
goal is
no
to just
goal.
use your strengths.
Yeah,
just use your strengths.
Yeah, it's not a goal
and be respected for.
It's
your
not to be
too.
more balanced outside of who you are. It's to say, this is who I am, and how I interact with you as who you are. This is a soft Venn diagram in the middle, where we can agree or have the mesh.
Yeah.
And when you're doing, hey, let's get it done, I know that's your style of I can understand that you can't help but do that.
I'm not going to take it personal.
And we need that.
Yeah.
We need you to do that because if it was up to me, we wouldn't, particularly.
Keep checking. Yeah, sure.
It might just, analysis paralysis might just get caught.
So the kind of thing is, like, on the level up might be like, hey, we're forming a team.
Mm-hmm.
I can like see the kind of people I got on my team. Yeah. And ideally, managers or team leaders would do this already, can see out your strengths and try to pair people together to make a more balanced.
Right.
A balanced unit, not a person becoming more balanced, is kind of,
teamwork. Yeah.
Instead of expecting
peanut
one
butter
person
and jelly,
to do everything.
if you will.
Peanut B and J.
The peanut butter doesn't turn to jelly. You don't want to eat that.
Yeah. And that swirl shit is gross.
You
the peanut butter swirl, jelly
you want to get the
swirl.
mix.
Ugh, you want to get a jar of jelly, a jar of peanut butter.
And then put them together.
I'm allergic to peanut butter, so I don't eat that stuff.
Well, and bringing it back to our NCAA, if you have
cashew butter.
If you have 5 centers.
I'm not allergic to peanut butter the way people like die if they get close to it or something. I just found out that it just get gassy.
Something's happening.
Yeah,
you don't
something
like
no good is happening in my belly. But cashew butter, highly enjoy.
But I mean, there's no Reese's cashew butter cups. That's the problem.
There are.
Are there?
Well, almond. You can get almond butter.
Okay.
Dark chocolate almond butter cups.
Well, guess what?
Yeah, from Trader Joe's.
My wife makes her own all of that stuff.
No.
But you also
next podcast at Bedford's house.
But you know what? You
nut
can
butters
also,
or Reese's Pieces.
You can also go to Rainbow. And Rainbow Grocery has it great. You could just get
cashew butter cups.
Wait, but hold on. Your wife makes her own peanut butter cups?
No,
or other
make
treats?
like milk nut milks, you know,
Ooh, yeah,
and
yeah,
like
those are good.
blend
Yeah.
them and strain them through the
Ooh,
cheese
that's nice.
grater, different kinds.
The nut bag, the bag, yeah.
That sounds nice.
Okay, quinoa milk. Can I order one? I want to try quinoa milk.
Oh, I never heard
Is that
of
a
that.
thing?
I know. Well, that's okay. You guys get a bonus solution idea. Quinoa has very high protein, very good, very healthy. Oat milk is like very sweet, very sugar, because oats are very sweet. So I want to try quinoa milk. Can she make some for me?
She could.
Yeah,
I
you could
have
ask her.
quinoa every week.
Ask her to make some quinoa milk, please.
So
if she want.
do you not cook it and then just strain it like you would the other seeds?
You're asking me. I think ask her. I don't know. I don't know how the hell to
I'll
do
tell
it.
her to make some quinoa
It would
milk.
probably be similar to oat milk because oats aren't nuts. They're like a grain. Quinoa's a grain. So whatever the recipe for oat milk would be.
Okay.
I wonder if I have quinoa every week. Is there quinoa in frozen pizza?
Depends on where you buy the pizza.
You could have a quinoa crust.
That's a quinoa crust, frozen pizza.
Anything out in the bay, you can
I
find
love
some
quinoa. Quinoa's so
crust.
good.
Just
Quinoa's
my
good.
nightly dates with the Red Baron. Just me and the Red Baron.
There's
hanging out.
there's different kinds of quinoa. You can get the rainbow, you get the gold or red.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mix
Whoa.
together. I buy the black, the red, and the yellow, and I mix them together to make my own rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Quinoa is awesome.
You guys are very fancy.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not expensive, and it's so filling.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty affordable.
It's a
food,
good
actually.
base.
Yeah.
It
You can
seems-
make a little sauce.
You know
or
what's so
something.
good is if you take the Japanese curry. You know those Japanese bok, those rectangular golden curries.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what flavor you like, the sweeter, the spicier, the whatever. But if you take that, you mix it, you make some vegetables and meat, and then you put that on quinoa. Oh my God.
Instead of rice?
It's
my
better.
gosh. Wow.
It's better because the quinoa brings this like nuttiness to it. Yeah.
I use
But
quinoa.
but back
I
to
mix it in.
back to the basic inheritance idea though. I was thinking about this, how basically you could, even before you did this with the basketball players, you could already just take people. You could say, let's take as a case study already people who received an inheritance at 30. So like a grandparent died or a parent died or something happened so that they received $500,000 when they were 30. And let's just let's just pull from society, 500. I'm sure there's thousands of people like that, tens of thousands. So let's just pull and do just a case
Just kind
study
of look at their lives
and say what happened. And if it's like this was great for them, like they started businesses, they bought homes, they got grad
They
school
became
degrees.
slumlords.
Yeah, right. Or did they? Maybe if it turns out actually these people just sit on their haunches and wait for mailbox money, from then on. But I doubt that. I really doubt that. I think people respond with like laziness and negativity because of negative things in their lives, not because of positive things in their lives. And receiving $200,000 is not a negative thing; it's a positive thing. It makes you, engages you, it stimulates you, it makes you think about your dreams and realizing them.
I do think I could survive if I had just a stream of money coming in. I think I could be happy not working.
Works.
It's called, it could be, I guess that would be considered retirement.
Yeah, maybe a little retirement, right?
Having that
Early
passive
retirement.
income stream, right?
Maybe more people would fire. Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's hard to do.
Oh, Scott said he doesn't know finance stuff. FIRE stands for, it's like what you make when you light a match. That's FIRE. You don't know about
okay.
FIRE? Just kidding.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
FIRE is a financial independence, retire early.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you get enough money, you get 25 times what you expect your future cost of living to be per year.
That was not my first or second guess. I thought you were talking about firing people, like making them
No,
not employed,
no.
or possibly
So maybe a
making
lot of
pottery
people,
into
maybe a lot of people would fire
Firing
if there
pottery.
was an inheritance like that. A lot
Yeah.
of people would be like, "Oh man, I'm going to make $100,000 before I'm 30. Then I'm going to get my $200,000. I'm
Yeah.
at 300. I'm going to go fire right away." That's cool.
That's some of that first education class can
That's
tell you,
right.
hey, a
That's
strategy might be
You want to fire?
to do the fire strategy.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
by the
yeah.
time you get
Yeah.
your 30, you can probably retire early at
Yeah, 40,
if you-
35, 40.
if
you can
you
retire.
agree to live under certain means,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that equation
yeah.
would be.
But even then, most fire people are owners. They own a house usually, even if it's in a low cost of living area.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
All right.
Well, dang, we should wrap this up. This has been really fun.
This is great.
Oh, we've gone about an hour.
Universal basic inheritance. I have
Yeah.
not heard of this
Yeah,
before.
and paying
I'm in favor.
paying exploited athletes.
Starting it with the NCAA.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this because
Yeah.
I do feel bad about student athletes who get exploited for all of their
Totally.
talent. And
Totally.
sometimes it works out. Sometimes people get a career-ending injury in college and they're like, sorry, goodbye to your entire professional athletics career. You know,
if
and that's
if
terrible.
they got 200 grand or 400 grand when they're 30, that'd be a huge win. Or maybe more. Maybe the lead athletes get $1 million. You know, maybe there would be kind of.
I mean,
they could negotiate.
They can
that.
work on the numbers.
How about this? It's like I've won some class action lawsuits.
Oh, cool.
But it was about not taking breaks at work. So you got to pay out for like every minute that you should have got paid for a break that you never took. That's cool. How the players can get like, hey, you never got on the field, you get the base. But if you were the water boy, you know, you never got on the court for minutes.
It might be the minutes.
Rate. Oh, the minutes on court.
But then there might be some bribery going on with the coaching. Like, hey, get me
in there, man.
You get me in there 10 years, I'll give you a kickback.
I just need 12 minutes tonight, coach.
Damn, 12 minutes. I go to what wouldn't work. And that's not a solution base.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what we have to do. We throw those at Adam and he bounces it back too.
I would put it in just tiers. I would say there's 5 tiers. There's the top draft, draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, draft 4, draft 5. And draft 5 only gets 50 grand a year. Yeah. Draft 1 gets $1 million a year. So, but then there's at least something that you're getting. You're being paid for your work. Mm-hmm. And we get to have this experiment in Piketty's theory of basic inheritance.
I'm down.
Be pretty cool.
It's fun.
Anyways, I appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah. Thank you, Bedford, for coming and joining us. This has been fantastic. Yeah. I really appreciate your financial mind as well, because mine doesn't key in as well. So this is perfect topic for that. And Adam, thanks for bringing us another humdinger.
We got humdingers for days.
Thanks.
I love it.
I got to work on my Star Trek knowledge.
I know, right? Me too.
I got to look and see if they have music in Star Trek.
You said you're immortal, so...
Yeah, if you're listening out there, if you're a big Star Trek person and you know about this, like an album of Star Trek music that they like, they have this stuff. Yeah, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah, let's see it. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
See you again next week. Bye.
Hey there, thanks for listening to that episode of Solutions from the Multiverse.
Yeah, we're back with a little after roll. Hello.
Hey, after roll. Roll that after roll. So basically, we want you to subscribe.
Yeah.
And rate and review. And tell someone. Like, take your favorite solution and send it to someone who you think it would like blow their mind to hear it.
Yeah, we love making the show. We're proud of it. And we're excited. We want other people to show. We know that the main way people find podcasts is word of mouth. I know that's true for me. I listen to my friends who also listen to podcasts tell me about ones, and I go, okay, I'm cluing into that. So we want to be part of that chain.
So thanks for being a part of Solutions.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon.
Bye.
Bye.